So imagine this. I'm a baker and I bake two identical cakes, right? And then I put a cherry on top of the other, and then on the other one, I just give you as it is. So a normal person would say there's no difference between the two cakes, but South Africans, when it comes to their football, they prefer the cherry on top. What the hell am I talking about? Well, of course, I'm talking about Bafana Bafana under Hugo Broos. I want to talk about the AFCON qualifications and the preview of the match that we will play against Morocco tomorrow. This thing really tastes bad. Anyway, my name is Mpilo and welcome to Coast Nation Fan TV. And as I said, ngifuna sikhulume about Hugo Broos, a very criticized coach, Bafana Bafana, but which coach hasn't been criticized really? But yeah, ngathi nje kuma levels are extra because people do not agree with him whatsoever. But what I will do is I will take a very neutral look at Hugo Broos, his record under Bafana Bafana and his other previous management, and in this case I'm talking about Cameroon because other teams that he's coached now let's go. So the first thing is that with Bafana Bafana, Hugo Broos has coached Bafana Bafana 6 games, and those games were for the World Cup qualifications. County France no Guinea sokhuluma ngabo, they are something else. But in the 6 games that he coached us for World Cup qualifications, we won 4, right? We drew 1, and then we lost 1. And the one that we lost, Sarojwa, umhlaba wonke wabona nje ukuthi Sarojwa clean, and there was the appeal yokuthi how did we lose and ukuthi kwathengwa ref and whatnot. So so you could say won 4, drew 1, and questionably lost another game. And what does that mean about him? It means he's the first coach in South African history who World Cup qualification reached 13 points. The highest that we've had before was 13 points. So in doing that, it means when there's something that has not been done before with players of more experience before and with players and coaches who you would think would have done better or were expected to do better, you understand? But under him, the team did better. And mind you, Uguti, it was like the first thing that he came to do. After Umlefinseki failed in the career to qualify for AFCON, then Broos comes in, and the first thing he does, he wins those 4 matches, draws 1 and loses 1. And by that, it brings something to one's attention ukuthi kunento vela ilethile ye-winning mentality of sorts kwiBafana Bafana. And already you are starting to disagree with me, but I told you I'm taking a neutral view of this. I will come to the cons of him. Right now I'm just bringing up the pros. Because, for instance, if you look at Chelsea, PSG, Liverpool, Man City, all those 4 teams were eliminated by Real Madrid, Liverpool being the last one in my final. But all of them, Madrid had to come back from a goal down, from 2 goals down, and then with Liverpool, they defended the entire match and scored 1 goal. And they won. Nobody's talking about, hey, Madrid, or how Liverpool played, or how well Liverpool played, or how good the touch from Salah was, or how good was the assist from De Bruyne, or how the combination of Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe worked. Nobody cares. Right now, the champions of Europe are Real Madrid. And why is Real Madrid the champions of Europe? Because they knew how to win matches. And Broos, as a coach, has shown Uguti he can win matches. Which brings us back to Lente Bengishe Kaleni. Broos can bake the cake and give it to you. It's just that we don't see the cherry. That is why people are complaining about him as if he is coaching in nonsense like Bafana Bafana. Let's look at the second point about Broos. Uguti into ayenzayo, well, at the second point, some points, just that I didn't number them. Ento ayenzayo, he's putting so much trust in young talent. Like buka isquad seBafana Bafana under Ubroos or William Zibo abadala ngicela noSiyanda Xulu bekuyo umdala, but for the most part kudlala intwana nje to a point vele ukuthi nayo bezesho ukuthi one of the things that the team benefited from World Cup qualification failure is the fact that they got experience. Babona ukuthi njani ukurojwa, babona ukuthi njani ukudlala in a hostile environment imbeza game. But in doing that, they got the experience, and as young as they are learning and they are progressing, and by the time they reach their prime, they will no longer be starstruck or environmentally inhibited or whatever way that you can come up with. Basically, that is not their home ground, it's not Orlando Stadium, FNP or Mbombela or Moses Mapita. They will still play just as well. You understand it? Because they are growing with it from their early ages and they are taking it to the next level. And a lot of people have been complaining about specifically umdlali like uThembazwane. uThembazwane bafethu asikhulume ngeqiniso, uyadlala lo mjida, uNtswempu uyalidlala ibhola kwi-Sundowns. And I'm underlining that kwi-Sundowns because how many times have we seen uThembazwane being called to Bafana Bafana and given the starting position and given ukuthi akaqale adlale, and yet he hasn't delivered? No, ngikhumbuze nje wena ukuthi how many times have we said, oh my daughter, umshishi did wonders for Bafana Bafana. Nini ngitshele mina, because all the time ubenikezwe chance umshishi angenzi mehluko, and that does not take away from the fact that he's still a good player, but it's just that thing yokuthi mayifika ku-national team akenzi lutho. And it was the same thing with uMessi ke angibafanisi, but I'm just saying sometimes it happens ukuthi a player can be so good for their club but not click when it comes to the national team. Now ngitshela ukuthi hayi it's because the systems. So ngitshela ukuthi yonke team with all the star players that we've had during isikhathi sikaThembazwane abekho abadlali bebengcono kunayo, because bekukhona uSerero, bekukhona uTawu. I-team besingaye kuyi-build around uTawu, sibuild around uZwane. We understand good now you are basically prioritizing the second or third best player in your team over the first or the best player in your team. It's not possible. You just have to adapt to the system and show ukuthi kwawena you are grown up enough and you are adaptable enough, because that's another thing eshabadlali base South Africa ukuthi they know one way of playing, ukuthi ngidlala ke-Sundowns sidlala kanje bese bayamthatha umuntu bamse Belgium. I'm not trying to take any shots at Otawa for example or whoever, ukuthi most of our players baya perform, sibabonile ophaka bayaphesheya beshisa, and then bahlala one season or two babuye. Every other player, because they are used to one way of playing, and when they get overseas bafike baboze, and then abantu sebezothi hey it's because kune racism. I-team ngeke ifike ithenge umdlali bese nje ifike ba racial abusive kuye. Nabo mani nabo sala bayaperforma phesheya because na kwafika kangadlala kahle ku-Chelsea, wahamba eRoma, wabuya ku-Liverpool waperform. Omani badlalile ko-Southampton, badlalile eGermany, still performing. Yaya Toure, Barcelona, Man City, still performing because those players have learned to adapt to different systems. So miss me with that thing yokuthi hayi it's because the system ayimvumi. Adapta ke kwi-system. Angithi wena you want to play your country, to play for your country, you want to represent your country, so adapt to the system. Ngeke njalo nje i-team kumele yenze sure ukuthi i-system ifit abadlali all the time. Sometimes it's just going to be you thinking about what's best for the team, and I think it should be the same thing that has to be said about uThembazwane ukuthi ayibo yini ungaperform Bafana Bafana. Maybe the reason is that kwawena awu adapt kwi-lokonje, and I'm isolating him because I know ukuthi a lot of people when it comes to Bruce's selection bahlezi bethi umshishi he's been performing, why is he not there? Give me a break. Moving on, sengikhulume kakhulu ngomshishi. Moving on to amakhonzi ke manje ngo Bruce. What is the problem ngo Bruce? First of all is the style of play. I know I said that the cake is important, is more important than the cherry on top, but at times it's not clear. I watched the game, World Cup qualifier, the first one against Zimbabwe. Oh my god, that was another okay, Gozela kwahamba ugesi kwaba ne-load shedding. It was last year September, yeah. But at least I'm out of the misery. Kubora yabo ithi mawuyibona ukuthi idlala into engekho, like awuboni ukuthi what are the patterns of play. Maybe are we trying to play through the middle? What are we using? Are we using our wings? How are we playing? So because of that, you end up saying, "But laba bamcriticizayo." That is why you end up getting what they mean, and also the fact that against France, kukhona ukuthi khona Mbappe, khona Ben Yedder, khona Benzema, khona Giroud, khona Kai, but we played against world champions before, Spain. And this Spain is much better at keeping the ball. And certainly when Glalo Xavi no Iniesta, we were certainly better at keeping the ball than Le France and my champions right now. And yet we still found ways of creating moments in the game to a point where we scored a goal and we won, and we were still organized enough to defend, to attack still, to play beautiful football. At times, okay, but against France, we didn't see that. So, if you was winner pela and you have a team that will stop you from even creating those chances as like goal scoring opportunities, then you're screwed. Which is why then you understand why some people complain about ukuthi uzamkwenzani yini siyibona eyenza as the coach. What is he telling them? How is he telling them to play? Because asikubona lokho, and as a result, a lot of critics and criticism will go towards him. Imbiza yami again. And there are some questionable decisions that he makes. Like in that game against France, he played Umobi over Umtao. And we know, and everyone knows that South Africa, Umtao is a much better player than Umobi. Yet we saw Umobi starting. And the argument could be that he was trying to see how Umobi would fare, will he play better, will he, But still, come on, it's a game against France. He could have done that against Guinea. I'm not saying Guinea is a smaller team. It is a smaller team compared to France. But then you can't just start your second best player, what I was talking about Uzwan. You can't start your second best player against the champions, arguably the best team in the world. Well, not really, but arguably the best team in the world. And when Uzodlala, your second best player. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. So if kungaba naleyo nto leyo ukuthi siyabona ukuthi every time you select a team, it's based on the best players in each position. Because what that does is then it opens up room for criticism. Because if uzodlala the second best player in one position, then we'll assume ukuthi okay, maybe those are my favorites. Maybe his entire squad selection is based on favorites and not really good. Is this the best player in that position? So that decision is one that ignited a lot of rage from us South African fans. Guti, what is it doing? What's going on here? You understand? And obviously, is that when you're going out to play, you just need to say, "See, you're a winner. We want to win." Not good if we will win, obviously, that's a bit arrogant. But to then say even a draw will be a good result. You don't say stuff like that. Because already in your mind, Mozot, a draw will be a good result against Morocco. I know we're playing away and we're playing against Morocco. But come on, you can't say that out loud, would a draw would be a good result. You can know that in your mind, would a draw will be a good result. Because that moment, vele abantu abazomcriticize and us who are just listening and being neutrals and supporting the team, we then go like, okay, if you think a draw would be a good result, and then that means you are saying let's draw maybe away against Morocco and win at home, and then go away against the, what's the other team on the group? Wow, my coach wow, forgot the other team that we are with a group in. But then we go away, we draw against them, and then we win home. We're at 6 points. Or they beat us in Morocco, better still. Then now we're running a risk of not qualifying a group in and a team of 3. Because when Subonengati a draw against Morocco will be a good result. That already tells me Uguti, you are likely to play more defensively against Morocco because you are trying to not lose. Because the teams that end up losing matches are the teams that don't want to lose. They are going out there to avoid a loss, and as a result, that's exactly what happens. Kanditina, if you go out there and we just try to win. I've seen this. I'm a Liverpool fan. People know that. I'm a Kaizer Chiefs Liverpool fan as well. Uguti, whenever teams come to Anfield or play with Liverpool, or even Man City for that fact, if a team comes out attacking, so for example, Crystal Palace against Man City, they beat Man City, they drew with Man City once and won again. Because what did Lokunja Patrick Vieira do against Man City? He just went out and attacked. He didn't sit back and defend, which is usually what teams do against Man City. Teams sit back and wait for City and try to break on counters, and then City beats them with their low block. But Vieira just attacked. Same thing happened with Liverpool when they were playing teams like Brighton, ending up like drawing and being dominated by Brighton at Anfield. It's because the team comes to Anfield, they dominate the ball, they make sure that they're coming at the team, which goes to this thing with the best form of defense is attack and make sure vele ukuthi emuva you are compensating ukuthi siya attacker, and now I will make sure that maybe I play back 3 to make sure ukuthi see balance the move, or udlale still 4-3-3 and have number 6 who drop between defenders. In that way you have 3 at the back mabezama ukukushaya counter, and very isikhathi when a team is expecting you to come and defend against them, and then when you attack, then all of a sudden they get pressed back and then they do not know what to do. And if you attack them, let's say in the first half they're expecting you to defend, and when you're coming out guns blazing, you might score 1, 2, 3 goals, and then in the second half usuyabuya defend again. But lenda bekuthi uzoyavele lapha game plan yakho ukuthi siyo defend, uzodliwa and straight. So I don't like the fact that he verbally said that out loud to a journalist ukuthi a draw would be a good result. There is no draw that would be a good result, because these games come back to bite us ekugcineni. Next point, I think enye into yokuthi ufocusile too much on critics izoba inkinga, because useliyabanda. He focuses too much on critics ukuthi I don't understand why people are criticizing me, they made me angry. Leave the critics. We have not qualified for the past 2 AFCONs. We have not qualified for the past 2 World Cups. What are you expecting? It might not be just your responsibility with the team hasn't qualified for those tournaments, but the people are just angry and they want change. They want to see something good. And if you can take us to AFCON, if you can take us to the AFCON and then the 2026 World Cup comes around and is still around and it takes us to the tournament, many coaches start kwamanye team doubt, but they end up proving critics wrong. And you don't need to be constantly coming out and saying, I don't care what the critic says, I don't care what anyone says. Because the fact that you're saying that means you do care. I mean, because you are now giving them power, by the way, but team. Just let your work speak for itself. Underground, perform, show us what you can do with the team. And then, some of us, me and Angie, Bafana Bafana has disappointed me enough, but I'm South African. You understand? vele makufika iWorld Cup November ayikho, so I won't have a choice but to support African teams, starting with Senegal, although I don't think they'll have a chance, or anyone else. I don't like Ghana because of how they won the game against us, but they're an African team, and if an African team can miraculously win the World Cup, I would be happy. But Bafana Bafana is my country, and it is my national soccer team, national football team, and I will always support them. Whether coach Hugo Broos or Fantino Fantarello, I will always support them. I'm South African, and I love my country like that. So some of us, Sige Hugo, will always be backing the team and will always be supporting the team. But sometimes we are critical because we want what's best for the team, because we are tired of always watching a World Cup and Aiki national team into, and now we have to support our Senegal, and we have to learn names of all these other players from other nations so that we can start backing them. Aye, guys, aye. Kungamnandi for once, like, even even if Bafana Bafana goes to a World Cup and they maybe get knocked out in group stages, but it gives us something, it gives us something. It can also give us motivation to Qatar. We save a happy mind, okay, I'm going to Qatar, my national team is there. But no, we're not there. We just, so the coach should stop focusing on the critics and let the work speak for itself. Guys, what do you think about Bafana Bafana? What do you think of Hugo Broos? And certainly, what do you think of my view of all this? Because I need to know from you guys. We're all South Africans, and this concerns South African football. Let me know down on the comment section below. If you are new to this channel, in this channel we speak everything Kaizer Chiefs and / Bafana Bafana. So let me know what you think on the comment section, and also if you enjoyed this video, leave a like so that YouTube can spread it to more people like you, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.